Let's talk about the events of my second Aquaman movie, Aquaman, Kingdom of Atlantis, in my DC cinematic universe. This movie starts off way back, like 20 years ago, when we follow a young David Hyde as he's deep-sea diving in the ocean. He comes across the Kingdom of Zebel, a city-state within Atlantis, and he eventually meets the woman who would become his wife and mother of Jackson Hyde Calderon. They have a whirlwind romance. We really get to see this guy as like sort of a sympathetic type character, but the whole time his wife is insisting that he cannot come to Atlantis. They cannot show that they have gotten married. She's going to run away to the surface to be with him. She wants out of Zebel because Zebel is becoming increasingly xenophobic. And David doesn't entirely believe her. He believes, like, deep down, people are good. Surely the Atlanteans can't be this evil. But shortly after the birth of their son Calderon, their family is attacked. He is impaled through the stomach by an Atlantean guard and left for dead. And his wife and son are taken back to Zebel for judgment. We then slam cut to the future where we follow the young boy Calderon. This movie mostly follows him. We're gonna find out all about his life, how he becomes like a sorcerer apprentice within the Kingdom of Zebel. He gets chosen by the High Queen Mira of Atlantis to become her apprentice, to be the next High Sorcerer of Atlantis. And while he's doing all of this, he meets Arthur, King Orin of Atlantis. And the movie is very much going to be about how Jackson doesn't feel as though he fits underwater. He's always felt like something is off. And Aquaman, being half Atlantean, can really relate to this kid. And meanwhile, the criminal known as Black Manta begins committing crimes, but framing it to look as though they're being committed by Atlanteans. This is all in an attempt to freak out the United States and the UN into declaring Atlantis a hostile nation. That is in Black Manta's attempt to frame them so that the government will give the all clear to use the chemical gas that he made to sort of knock Atlanteans out. But that's actually, he didn't make a gas to knock Atlanteans out. He made a horrible bioweapon to violently kill all Atlanteans, and he's trying to trick the government into using it. Now, throughout the movie, I'm trying a couple things. One, Calderon is going to be mostly the center focus of the movie, and we're going to get some of Arthur's struggles, especially as, like, his newborn daughter is happening in this movie. And then I'm also going to be trying sort of, not a split timeline thing, but I'm trying to hide the fact that David Hyde, the biologist in this movie who works for the Navy, and Black Manta, the man committing all the crimes, framing the Atlanteans for shit, are one in the same. Because then eventually, Jackson Hyde Calderon will find out that he is actually half human. He will get the confirmation from his parents, who turn out to actually be his uncle and his aunt, who raised him because they swapped the corpse of a dead child, their dead child who was born stillborn, for him. His uncle refused to let his nephew die. He didn't want to see the last bit of his sister be killed, and so he did the only thing he could. He swapped out his stillborn baby for this one and raised Calderon as his own. And Calderon's going to find out that his father was a human man by the name of David Hyde. Jackson will then also find out that his father, David Hyde, works for the Navy, and eventually that his father is stationed on the battleships that are attacking Atlantis in the culmination of the movie. Jackson's going to meet him, and that's when we get a million reveals that Jackson is his son. He is Jackson's dad, and David Hyde the whole time has been Black Manta. I'm really trying for a Darth Vader, I am your father moment here, but from Calderon saying it to him of, I am your son. And that revelation is going to blow this dude's mind. He's gonna immediately realize he's super in the wrong because he's been attacking these people thinking they're horribly xenophobic, racist pieces of shit who killed his wife and infant child. And while part of that was true, especially with the Kingdom of Zebel, no, it turns out that there are some Atlanteans that are so cool they love and accept his son for exactly who he is and raised him to be a great man. So he realizes he can't go and commit genocide because also if he does that, his son will die! So Black Manta administers the cure. Atlantis doesn't die. He's thrown in mega prison. Atlantis realizes they should probably join the UN. And Calderon and Black Manta get, like, opportunities to talk with one another. In my universe, he's a sympathetic villain, eventually turned anti-hero, eventually turned good guy. I like Black Manta.